Dust is yet to settle in Cameroon since the holding of the Maga rally by Cameroon Renaissance Movement National President Professor Maurice Kamto. Out there in Paris, France, at the Place de la République, so many persons are questioning the reason for this very big rally out of Cameroon. Meanwhile, others are asking whether campaigns have started for the 2025 presidential elections. What actually took Professor Maurice Kamto out of Cameroon for this mega rally? We're going to be discussing on some of this with panelists who are with me in the studio this evening. Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to Prime Hour, the first edition for this week. We are going to be discussing with the advisor, a senior advisor to Professor Maurice Kamto, Mutagha, who is with me in the studio to discuss about what actually happened out there in Paris. Good evening. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Kum Leonard, and good evening to all the millions of televiewers of Prime Hour who are scotched to their TV sets across the four angles of the national territory of Cameroon and also the world at large. I want to say kudos to the organizing committee of the mega rally that took place in France. Kudos to General Vassero. Kudos to Honorable Jean-Michel Nietzsche that went there a week earlier before Professor Maurice Kamto arrived there. Kudos to one of the legal luminaries, a professor, that is Professor Ba Oyuno, that was there in France. He distinguished himself as one of those professors that can stand for the truth. Remember, I said here, we have some professors, let me say some academicians whom we look up to them that have decided to sacrifice their moral and academic integrity on the altar of political opportunism. So when you see people across various angles of all walks of life, excuse me, if you see people of all walks of life like Richard Bona, who were there, General Vassero, and a good number of them, just to say, Professor Maurice Kamto, we've been longing to have you here in the diaspora after the post-electoral crisis that broke out during the 2018 presidential elections, which the CRM was still contesting the elections. He came back from Europe, and they were hungry to see him, because if you look at what happened, Professor Maurice Kamto came back from Europe, and he was immediately sent on a house arrest in Yaoundé. He spent 2 weeks in house arrest in Yaoundé, and the diaspora, there was a lot of vexation, and many thought that they should give him that opportunity to come back so that they can tell him, Papa, we are happy that you did not relent despite the pressure. You still continue fighting for the rule of the law and democracy to prevail in Cameroon. Thank you so much for inviting me here tonight, Mr. Kum Leonard.
Okay. We also are going to be discussing with Tah Mai Javis. Good evening. We're sitting in for Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel, who has just informed me that he's caught in traffic, heavy traffic. So many persons have complained about that around the Rond-Point area of this city. Good evening. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Kum. Good evening to Mutagha. Good evening to the other panelists whom you are going to introduce. Of course, a special good evening to those who are watching us from different parts of the world. It is another day again for us to look at the political climate of our nation. I want to greet the special good evening to the peace-loving people of my village, Way Village, and the people of Moya, and of course the Bishop of Boya, His Lordship Michael Bibi, who joined the church to celebrate the communications day within the church. And it is it's going to be a very charged period for the nation. We are just left with June, July, August, and of course September, just 4 months to go. A lot of theatrics, a lot of drama, a lot of play is going to take place. Like Bakaboy always say that Damba na for fee.
Okay, Damba na for fee. We also are going to be discussing with Paddy Asanga, who is a militant of the Social Democratic Front. Good evening. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Leo, and I'm very, very glad to be here meeting my friend and brother, Mutagha, again. And it is always a privilege to come on your platform that has demonstrated herself to be the voice of the Anglophone despite our odds, and your impartiality distinguish your personality. So we want to first of all congratulate you for that, and on also your platform, which is today followed by millions of Anglophone. I also want to congratulate myself and say happy 35 years old in the opposition. Happy birthday to our chairman, the second. Happy birthday to all the denizens of Abakwa. Happy birthday to our followers and fans in the diaspora, and also thank your promoter for the wonderful job that he has been doing. That notwithstanding, I want to decry certain malpractices that I'd witnessed when I was traveling from Bamenda after our 31st commemoration and our homages to the fallen heroes and the martyrs of the 26th. Mr. Liu, I think I want to call the attention of the Minister of Transport of this country to say that they should go and control all the transport agencies that are leaving from Bamenda, Buda, Bafoussam to Douala or Yaoundé, because what I saw there, it is something that unfortunately I did not have, my phone was not charged, but what happened there is deplorable. You want to control people, take people and tell them that if they don't have identity cards, they should give you 1,000 francs without controlling what they are carrying in their luggages. These are some of the malpractices that are reinforcing instability and displacement of unwanted people within the local communities. So if you want to transport people who don't have ID cards, say I'm not transporting people without ID card, but don't take them on the bus and say they should give you 1,000 francs. Are you going to produce the ID card in that bus that night before the person gets to his destination? So what is happening? I want to know what is happening, and I'll use your platform to say that and say it very loud, because the next time it will happen in a bus where any of us who think like myself is in that bus, I think the policeman who's on that patrol point will only shoot us, or his boss will come and answer the questions. Thank you, Mr. Liu.
Okay, before we get to the key question of discussion, I want us to use 15 minutes to answer this question. Why can the Anglophone political class not speak with one voice all these years?
Mr. Kum Leonard, after I spent 2 years, 3 months at the Kondongi dreaded central prison, and I came out, I had the opportunity to visit a good number of Anglophone elites in the Northwest and the Southwest region, and some others in the nation's political and economic capital of Cameroon. The reason why I had to meet some of them was for us to see how we could come up with a platform in which we would have to canvass for peace to return in the two English-speaking regions, because I was in prison, and I want to say this emphatically, that I met people like Macho BBC, Ngalin Felix, Penn Terence, and a good number of them who are in prisons, who told me, Sir Mutagha, you see, we do want that Cameroon, especially the two English-speaking regions, should enjoy relative calm and stability. We want you to talk to those who are outside there, who are closer to the corridors of power, to understand that our prime intentions of going out in 2016, I beg your pardon, into the street was simply because we saw that the two English-speaking regions were marginalized. There wasn't potable water, good roads in the Northwest region, most especially because that was what happened. The Anglophone Saxon system of education is being adulterated, and a good lot of things. So when I met these people, I tried to talk to them, and I saw some of them were not ready to collaborate. I don't want to cite their names here for a reason of certain civilities. So when you want to ask this particular question, why is it that the political class from the Northwest and Southwest region is unable to come to a common front where they can dialogue and they speak as one person? I will tell you that it is as a result of the fact that some politicians from the northwest and southwest region look at politics as a source of avarice. Some of them have never seen politics as a way through which they can use to work for the better living condition of their people. They have been there simply because they look at what they have to gain as individuals, they look at what they have to gain for their families, and they look at what they have to leave for posterity. So with this, it is difficult for the Anglophone community to come to a common front. Another reason is because you understand that the political landscape in our country is very slippery. From the moment you start thinking of coming to a common front, knowing that they are divergent political ideologies, those of the ruling CPDM in place will think that you are already compromising, you want to gang up, maybe to unseat them, whereas it might be just a common front to better see how they can structure the grievances, they could structure the plight, they could reform the plight of the people and present to the central system in place that this is exactly what the people want, and this is how we think that solutions can be provided to the problems of the English speaking. So it's a whole complicated situation, but at times it is said desperate situations trigger desperate measures. After the 1961 referendum that was, how do I call it, what took place in Fumban, the Fumban conference that brought the English-speaking and the French-speaking as a people, I think that Anglophones who have been crying that they were duped in that conference should think of how they can sit down and see how they themselves propose solutions which could be canvassed at the National Assembly or through other mechanisms to be adopted in place so that the grievances can be quelled. You know that Christian Cardinal Toomey, who wanted the All Anglophone Conference to take place, you understand that some of those who did not even buy his idea for the All Anglophone Conference were not those of the opposition. They were the politicians of the ruling CPDM, simply because some of them wanted to prove that they are more patriotic than others, and that the other ones from the Anglophone regions that want to rally Anglophones to come and to a table of dialogue and then to see how they can propose solutions to
but away from the Anglophone crisis, we are gearing towards presidential elections. We still do not find the Anglophone political elite speaking in one voice. We heard some years back about the possibility of an Anglophone president. The political elites are still not talking from the same side of the mouth. Why? What is not working? Paddy.
Leo, contrary to my friend Mutagha, I would be very, very naive to start saying that, oh, the CPDM did not allow us to do. They are doing what they know how to do best. And then you have in the Anglophone section, the subsection of what you call Anglophones, you have three political opinions. You have those who the minority that are speaking aloud with arms. You have those of us, the Federalists, and then you have the Jacobins. Those political ideologies do not work together. Mm-hmm. You cannot mix water and petrol and expect it to dilute. It doesn't work. So it is very, very naive to think that those who are sitting on their own seats and fitting fat will give you the opportunity to come and unseat them. You have to develop strategies to be able to take them out. And how do you develop those strategies? Those people who told you that they were going to liberate it through the fall of arms, most of them are being taken out. All their leadership is out of the game. So what do you do? What is your fallback position? Those are the people you should be talking to. Don't expect the CPDM people to give you any chance.
That would be very naive to think like that. And that's why I look at sometimes when I listen to my friend who is also a Jacobin, from someone from the far right party of Maurice Kamto, who is parading himself in France, talking about Anglophone and left, right, center. To me, it's a charade. You can't say something like that to somebody like myself who is currently now on the field, trying to see how we can invest youths in the council, because we believe from bottom up, not top to bottom. That's why people say, oh, there are powers that are bigger than Mr. Biya, they go and start visiting them. Now, when you want to get to that solution, go on the field and tell these people, the CPDM has marginalized us for 35 years, but we have kept the flame burning. You came and said, with guns, you're going to liberate us. America becomes a black leg. Sweden becomes a black leg. Norway becomes a black leg. Cameroon government, as they call it, La République, black leg. Nigeria, black leg. Ghana, black leg. What do you do? Where do you stand today? And the DNA of the Anglo.
When every anniversary is an opportunity to reward loyalty, Orange is here to celebrate its 25th anniversary with all Cameroonians. Many prizes to win for the occasion, tourism trips, latest smartphones, and lots of other surprises. Quick, subscribe to Orange Bonus on #111*1# or via the Maxit app. Gather a max of points and try to win great prizes. Orange is here.
Cameroon, at the current situation, is not a department or a division of France. No. Every instruction comes from France. That's why they keep running there.
Cameroon is a sovereign state.
It is a sovereign state, but who is their most privileged partner? What did Mr. Biya say? Je suis le meilleur élève de la France. Why are French lawyers coming to plead for the cause of an opposition party, whereas the Ouattara law was not ignited and we contested it? Why? And the Ouattara only has to do with France, not any other country in Europe.
Okay.
So that's the problem.
That's the problem. Tah Mai Javis, a word on this?
The problem.
The political elite.
The problem of the political elite is just the fear of the coming up of new elite.
Okay.
That's why you
the emergence of
the emergence of new elite. That's why you rarely see them coming together to speak in one voice, because they fear that if they come together, it will be like they will actually automatically lost their privilege like others. That's the problem, because if you look at when we all started, when this crisis started in 2016, and also you look at the 2018 presidential election, you will bear with me that most of the Anglophone elite, everybody is saying that, oh, we want an Anglophone president, oh, we want this, we want that. But the question is, why can't we come together? It's just the fear of having new elite, because they are so fixed with what they get, and the fear that if there's that new elite, it will weaken their powers. People will no longer bow to them, because whether we like it or not, there are some names that they like reverence, and the fear that if they come together, new texts may come up, or maybe some new elites will spring up, and they will not have that full leverage, or that they will have their money, of course, but they will not have that influence that they used to have. And that's the problem why you see they will rarely come together. It's not like they don't share one common problem. Let me be very honest with you. If you talk with Anglophone elite political class, they will tell you the same problems that we are suffering from. They will complain the same problem. Let me give you an example. At the hemicycle, we watch Anglophone politicians complaining about the issue of roads, how the roads are bad, which were okay. At the level of the ministerial division, we watch Anglophone ministers also have complained about the issue of roads. With the same thing, you go to Paddy will complain about the issue of roads. All of these people are joined together. They have one common complaint. But the question is, why can all these people now come together and mesh their powers and see how they can provide a common solution? The only issue is they are afraid of the rise of new elite class. Because let's take, for example, if they come together in the resolution of the Anglophone crisis, when we come together, new laws will be made, and some people who were elected, their powers will go down. So the reason, to me, my obvious interpretation of this is a fear of the emergence of new elites, and it is very bad. And this takes us to what I described in one of my papers that I'm still writing, which is captioned personalism, because we need to draw a fine line between personalism and patriotism. Patriotism is the love you have for your fatherland, to defend the interests of your people from both foreign and within our domestic enemies. Now, personalism is that interest where you make the people to understand that I am fighting for you, I am fighting for you. Whereas in the nutshell, you are fighting for yourself. So to me, the question as to why these people are not coming together, I just simply understand it that is a personal interest, and this personal interest is very bad, because whether we like it or not, the people who matters are suffering. Let me just give you an example. When you go to Boya, so when there's traffic in Moliko now, and that traffic extends right to Bukwango, whether you are from an Anglophone political class or you're not from that political class, we all are caught in the traffic. Like Abokaboy was in Bamenda the other day, whether he is SDF or he is MRC, also Sylvanus was in Bamenda I'm sure it's 2 weeks ago. All of them experienced the same bad road about Bamenda. All of them experienced the difficulties, electricity. I'm not sure you had electricity in Bamenda from your time that you were in Bamenda. Even if you had, it was epileptic. All of you, it was not, they were not segregating whether you are this party, you are not this party. But the reason why these people cannot come together is simply because maybe Abokaboy, like he said, he's afraid that, oh, this man is central left, this one is center this. But to me, let us focus on the interest of the common man. And that interest of the common man is simple. If you go to the North and Southwest region, or the Anglophone class, many of them are saying, oh, we need an Anglophone president. Oh, we need an Anglophone president. Oh, we need an Anglophone president. But you ask them, why can't we come together to find a common way where we can push all the different political parties to bring Anglophone candidates in their respective parties? They will tell you that, oh, we have our agenda, we have our ideology, and this and that, and this and that. So the bottom line is, until we come out from our personal interest, we will not go far, because if you look at what is happening right now across the divisions of the Northwest and Southwest region, you go to Batibo, the Batibo man has the same complaint like the man in Fako. The Fako man has the same complaint like the man in Manyu. The Manyu man has the same complaint like the man in Widikum. The Widikum man has the same complaint like the man in Meme. Meme has the same complaint like the man in Womb. But why can't we come together? For us to come together, we must look at what our forebearers the Fumban Conference has sought out or wanted Cameroon or the Anglophone to be. People of integrity, value, honor, and respect. But today, if you look at what is happening, we have eroded from that value, integrity, and respect. We are now instead focused on name calling. And it is very bad, because whether we call name from January to December, the core of the matter here is that the Anglophone people within their circle feel and believe that they much is not being given to them. Like if you look at what Paddy said from the Fumban Conference, or Mutagha also said from the Fumban Conference, we have a system whereby Anglophones still feel marginalized still today. Like the Guardian Post had published in one of their publications that key positions that the Anglophones had never occupied in this nation. And if you look at those key positions, you ask yourself, like what Paddy said on the Sisters program on House of Commons, he said, when we look at all the aspect of the marginalization, we must understand that Anglophones need to be given their position. And so therefore I am begging on the fact that our political class, whether you are from Batibo, you are from Menchum, you are from Fako, you are from Meme, you are from Manyu, all of us must come together and see how we build this nation. Because if we fail to come together, we are preparing to fail. The one reason that I'm saying this is because 2025 is here, and in 4 months' time, we shall be choosing a candidate. Many political parties, with the exception of SDF and some other few political parties, are pushing for the Anglophone presidency. But that's why we are begging that others within their party should tell their candidate to push for this Anglophone candidacy in all of the respective parties. But again, the fear of emergence of new elite is the major reason why they may not want to come together.
Okay, thank you very much, Tah Mai Javis. There was a very huge crowd pulling rally by the president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, Professor Maurice Kamto, in Paris, France, where thousands of Cameroonians pulled up to listen to the message of hope brought from Cameroon by Professor Maurice Kamto. And since then, the press, mainstream and social media has been awash with different interpretations of what took Professor Maurice Kamto to Paris. Now, what is the most important message you took out of the Paris rally, Mutagha?
Mr. Kum Leonard, before I answer you, let me just throw a light on what my fellow panelist, Paddy Asanga, was displaying there. I will call it the old witchcraft practice. Yes. You know, how does it work? You ask a man, why is it that your wife is not beautiful? He tells you that his wife is not beautiful because his neighbor's wife does a lot of makeup. And then he's always making a lot of show. Instead of telling you exactly the things that makes his own wife to be shabby. The wife is not.
Beauty lies in the hands of the beholder.
The wife is the wife is not.
If his wife is beautiful,
Yes.
or not.
Why is his wife not beautiful? It would have been normal. He tells you that his wife is beautiful.
So your theory of
it would have been.
theory of witchcraft doesn't hold with what you're saying about wifehood. We are talking here about
Paddy,
politics on the field.
Paddy, there is a Voltairean dictum which says, "I might not buy what you say, but I have to support your right to say it to the end." That's why when you were doing,
So don't talk about my wife.
why you were doing a lot of errors here in your mental quackery, I had to remain quite silent to allow you to talk. I had to allow you. I had to allow you to talk to the end.
Mind your words.
I had to
It's
allow you
mental
to talk.
quackery.
Yes, it was quite mental
I hope
quackery.
you assume
Yes,
you-
I will
you
assume it.
bear the
We have
consequences.
come here. If you want us to turn this thing to bazooka for bazooka, I will spoil the platform. And you know I'm very
So
good
it's
for
a
that.
mental quackery.
It's mental quackery because they ask you of why Anglophones cannot come together. Instead of talking why Anglophones cannot come together, you were there talking of how Professor Maurice Kamto ran to France, did meetings, and all that. I don't think that
Did you follow up on
tonight we have come here for the judgment of Maurice Kamto. The first question was, why do Anglophones find it difficult to come together? If you want to talk about a Jacobin, I want to take the chairman of the SDF who left from Bamenda in 2017, abandoned the people and went to his house, which is there at A2D. There is no Anglophone that was given. His wife died. The president of the republic pumped huge sum of money for him to bury the wife in Bamenda. He has never done that for any person. It's to show you the tie he has. If there's any Jacobin, it is Fundi who deceived the Anglophones. A long 35 years past, we expected that he was going to do something. He did not do it. Let me come back to your question. If you look at the Anglophones regions being what they are today, is because the people have lost hope in politics because of what Fundi did to them. All this while, he connived with the regime in place to shatter the dreams of Anglophones having a president.
Okay.
Let me come back. If you were talking of
Why did you go to prison?
you spoke of
why
Abed,
were you in prison?
you spoke of Abed Zongang. You
Why were you-
you spoke of Abed Zongang here.
Zongang is not SDF.
Why were you with Abed Zongang?
Can you say it?
Please.
Abed Zongang is not Professor Maurice Kamto.
Thank you.
He was
Thank you.
part of
Those who paid Nijon Fundi
So
to
you're
sell
working
their
with
victory.
thieves who have declared that they are
They paid the chairman to sell their victory.
Please.
They paid the chairman, and the chairman bought their victory.
Mutagha.
Let me come back to your question. Let me come back. You're waiting for Wood in Bamenda.
Why didn't you go there with him?
I was in Bamenda with him. I was in Bamenda with him.
Please.
Like political clown.
Not a clown, as
please.
you think you are.
You talk about mental quack. You are political clown.
Please. We are here to talk.
Asanga, I will not
Don't
answer
play the
you.
victim here.
I will not answer
You're
you.
playing the victim to the wrong person.
Like I was
So
saying,
mind your words.
Please.
Because I will apply the principle of
Asanga, there's no
reciprocity.
reciprocity
which you can do. You have not yet.
That your nonsense ends in Paris with the verse.
Please. Paddy, can we?
Are you not part of the rascals who burned people's houses in 1992 in Bamenda? Name others in the name of democracy. Suddenly you have metamorphosed into a gentleman. You think you can sit on the platform and speak rubbish here.
Semutaga, can we go back?
Please.
I am not insulting the memory of Fundi. You are talking about Kamto.
You shall see.
We are here on the platform.
I'll stop the program, please. If we must go this way, the program.
Political
But you shouldn't invite people like this who do not know the real team of the debate.
Can you debate?
Paddy, Paddy, please, we are talking about the rally of Professor Maurice Kamto.
It's an ideological debate and not debate of persons.
Very huge gathering
Debate.
that brought so many Cameroonians in Paris. Now, let Cameroonians understand what, according to
And
you.
paid homeless.
Please, go on.
Mr.
What was the key message out of what happened in
Mr. Kum Leonard, honestly speaking, I want to laud you for your professionalism. This is one of the topics of debate that has animated most of the TV platforms, even the major audiovisual TV channel in the nation, so you can understand how much importance the people of this nation attached to the meeting that was held in France. Professor Maurice Kamto is a household name since 2018. After he was being kept on house arrest in Yaoundé following the protests which we intended launching, yes, because we were to launch a protest to say that the twin elections were not supposed to hold till they resolve the crisis going on in the northwest and southwest region. So he was held hostage. After that, you find that a good number of militants of the CRM were arrested. People like Professor Alain Foguet, Mr. Bibou Nisak, who was a spokesperson of Professor Maurice Kamto, they are there in prison, and 100 of militants of the CRM are in prisons across the nation. The diaspora has been assisting the CRM in multiple ways. And don't forget that after the meeting that was held in Paris last 2020, a good number of the diasporans expected that Professor Maurice Kamto were to come back there and tell them exactly how he intends to go in for the next upcoming presidential elections in 2025. So there's been a lot of pressure in the diaspora. Those who think that Professor Maurice Kamto is maybe marginalizing the diaspora, because you find that during the 2018 presidential elections, he did not go out in the diaspora there for a campaign. All what was done in the nation was that the campaign ended up in the 360 subdivisions of the nation. So now, we are on the eve of the presidential elections that will be held in Cameroon in 2025.
in October?
In October. There are a good number of things that are affecting the diaspora. The issues of double nationality, the issue of the diaspora bringing back some of their expertise to contribute to nation development. Those things needed Professor Maurice Kamto, after having taken time to work with the inner caucus, and you know the governance program of the CRM has been reformed. He needed to go to the diaspora and talk to the diaspora personally, communion with them, and to tell them that this is exactly what we have installed for you. You remember when he reaches the diaspora, the police of the rally in the diaspora was that there should be no divisive messages, gadgets, like the flag of the Amazonians. When you find him, last time they had a meeting in the diaspora, they came there with their flag, and he told them that this time around, I am coming with a message of
unity.
Please leave those your flags which you came there in 2020 with it, and come let us talk, share ideologies. You listen to the project which I have for the new Cameroon. He said it in the diaspora that once he's elected as the president of the Republic of Cameroon, the very first thing he has to do is for him to meet the elites of the northwest and southwest region, because at that particular time he would be
the president
of the Republic. He is at the helm of the Supreme Magistracy. He has both the military, he has the gendarmes and the police, who can guarantee his security in the northwest and southwest region. You remember that the chairman, who is even an elite from the northwest region, was kidnapped in Bamenda. We know what happened to Christian Cardinal Tumi. He was kidnapped in Bamenda. Only few of those allies from the northwest region who master the ground. When I say master the ground in politics, they say what height what, can go to the northwest region and come back because they have 1 or 2 persons who can put their hands here and there, and they go there, even if they cannot do this thing, they cannot do a rally there. For most Kamto went to France. He spoke to the diaspora. A good number of those who were in other countries, not only in France, came there. Contrary to what you will hear Paddy Asanga very soon when you give him the microphone, we're telling you here that Professor Maurice Kamto went to France because Cameroon, he is a Jacobin, he is a puppet from the French Republic that they want to put to replace President Pobia. And then we ask ourselves, Paddy thinks Cameroon is a sovereign nation, as he's saying Anglophone should take power. And then you are saying that it is a different country that will come and put a different person on power. It means completely that Paddy himself does not believe in the sovereignty of the state. He is part of those. He is part of those who think that. He is part of those. He is part of those who think that it were better they pick arms and chase France out of Cameroon. It were better they pick arms and chase Mr. Biya out of power. That's what my co-panelist here is saying. Contrary to the view of the CRM, that has always been that we should change power through the ballot. The CRM is one of those political parties that has suffered the repression, it has suffered the barbarism, the tyranny of the system in place. Under the watchful eyes of France, we lost about 4 militants in prison. There are others who are in prison now, 7 years gone. If France has such a power and Professor Maurice Kamto is so close to them, they would have done everything possible to take out Professor Fogé from the prison. So like I told you, Mr. Kum Leonard, the meeting in France was a meeting to dialogue with the diaspora, canvas for support for the 2025 presidential election. Don't forget, the diaspora has been helping Cameroon both economically. We cannot talk of the number of families in Cameroon that they have empowered economically, lending them money, sponsoring them in school, to sponsor the presidential campaign.
Can we say that, that it was some sort of a launching of his campaigns for the presidential elections? Because I'm not sure he's going back to Paris before October.
It was just a meeting of awareness concerning the presidential campaign and the stakes. Whether you call it launching of campaign or whatever you want to put it, the main fact is that part of what was supposed to be said during the period of campaign was said there. Just equally like you saw John Gute was in the southwest region to tell them, Papa has sent me here to tell you all these things. So we are in a period where everybody is doing everything possible.
We leverage on every opportunity.
Yes, to use every opportunity. Don't forget that the CRM has been trying to organize meetings in Cameroon here. And I want to tell that in about 100 demands for meetings, we never saw even 10 of them prospering. If I call 10, it will be even exaggeration. We had 3 meetings that were held. But in France, we only applied 2 weeks. If you look at the letter that was dropped at the prefectorate of France, it was 2 weeks. Just like it can be done in other countries. We have seen he is not the lone person holding meetings in France. You have
we've seen so many African politicians.
So many Africans. So when you hear a man like my co-panelist here will tell you he's a Jacobin, I want to say that it shows that we Anglophones are not even yet ready to take power in this country, because if we cannot really take time to analyze a simple political rally without demagogy, without cynicism, without mental quackery, without wickedness, and without bias, it means there is a lot of that need to be done.
Okay. Professor Maurice Kamto says that he came for a message of unity for the sovereignty and national integrity of this country. He said a lot and lots of things, also assuring President Paul Biya that in case he takes power, he was going to also ensure the security of his family. Lots and lots of things were said out there, accompanied by Honorable Aniche and Professor Abba Oyuno, who also, all of them spoke out there. Was Professor Maurice Kamto indirectly talking to Cameroonians from France?
I say the meeting was timely. If you look at what we have been saying, that what the Anglophones need to do, or what the Cameroonians politicians need to do, is that they must ensure that they start moving to talk to the people on a regular basis. And this meeting to me is, despite the fact that I said timely, is coming a little bit late, because we need to have this movement to talk to Cameroonians and to share opinions and views. I see that as a major step for the party in terms of preparing for 2025 presidential election, a major step. And the message of unity is also very important, because Cameroonians seems to be divided across ideological lines and more of tribal lines. Today you are hearing about the Tontina, the this, the that, the that, the that, the that. And so there is that need to explain to Cameroonians that we are talking about the patrimony and the matrimony. What is on the ballot for this election is unity. Because Cameroonians have never been so much agitating and insulting each other and fighting against each other as we are now. If you look at the fever we had in 2018, it was not as compared to now. If you look at the fever we had in 2011 presidential election, it was not as compared to now. Now we have a kind of very violent rectorate across the spectrum, and the Anglophone crisis has further made it that way. And now, so when you see Professor Maurice Kamto going to France, talk with the message of unity, I think that it is very important, because whichever political leaders or party members who is talking about perspective for 2025 presidential election should first of all look at one key thing, the unity, because we can never grow as a nation or prosper as a nation if we are not united in our culture, in our ideology, in the message we speak. Because whether we like it or not, the economy is not going. Whether we like it or not, the political landscape is not going. And one thing that is certain, like we had traffic today, and there's traffic today in Douala across the wrong point right to Musadi and Bonabere. And it doesn't segregate whether you are a CRM militant, you are an SDF militant. I saw today military vehicles trapped in that traffic for 2 hours. So it doesn't segregate whether you are the top, you are the back. So that unity, without unity, we cannot look for common problem, because we'll be insulting each other on a regular basis. Now, I see Professor Maurice Kamto's meeting in France across different lines. The first is that it is to get the Cameroonians who are here at home, who are reluctant to register, to talk to their brothers in diaspora, who are funding their homes and providing them, to call their loved ones to tell them that, you know what, you guys must register for this election. This election is important, because I will tell you that most of those who are abroad have family members at home across different villages, towns, and cities who they listen to and believe more. And most of the diasporas who are out there, some of them don't believe in the ballot. So if they believe now in the ballot, they can easily have an influence on their loved ones at home. Whether we also like it or not every member who went to that rally went there as a CRM. They went there to listen to a candidate who has a message for them, and it is his position now to convince them whether they should believe it or not. Now the second, Paddy, I'll be very honest, as a journalist. You're a politician. As a journalist, there is a pathway for Professor Kamto to become a candidate. There's a pathway. He can choose to be as an independent. He can choose to file in. The Constitution is a bit need clarity as to how a candidate will be filed. Maybe that you look at that clause. There's a clause again. So in terms of him being candidacy, I think we cannot dispute. Let's wait. We are not the Constitutional Council. The Constitutional Council will mandate on it and will provide whether or not he will be. But the message is that diasporans should tell their loved ones to register massively. The other one is to assure those who are in the diaspora that if he becomes president tomorrow, maybe the issue about dual nationality that they are talking about, maybe the issue in which they are looking at Cameroon, like the Anglophone crisis, will be resolved. Remember that if you look at the context of the Anglophone crisis, the strength of this crisis was abroad. The strength of this crisis was abroad, was not even at home. So that's why you see even Cameroon government sent emissaries abroad during the height of this crisis to go and discuss with diasporans to see how they can pipe down the rhetoric and restore peace in the north and south region. So Professor Maurice Kamto evaporating himself to France is not coincident, because diaspora they have a strong force. They can mobilize resources like the Anglophone crisis. We saw the contribution of the famous My Trip to Boya that has not that finally did not take them to Boya. We saw the contribution of no. Let me land. No. From my own perspective, I'm not landed.
Tell them that.
No.
Brice Ninche, the brother of Jean Michel.
No. Please,
let me land.
Paddy, please.
Let me land.
So that's
what I'm saying is that the issue about him going abroad is because the diaspora has a good force. Another reason, whether we like it or not, politicians need to understand, before you run for candidacy, you must try to see how you can discuss with partner for peace within the nation to secure the transparency of the election at home. That rally was a message to those who are abroad, who have interests of Cameroon at heart, to see that come 2025, this crowd that have come out, the crowd came from Germany, America, wherever. These are Cameroonians who have the interests of their nation at heart. So we should see that the election in Cameroon should be peaceful and transparent. So there was a message. When we saw the crowd, the message was simple, because they are partner for peace. Another issue is investment. To see, for a nation, of a Western nation or foreign investors to come and invest in your nation, they must be able to see that youth or the people in that nation participate massively, and it's a democratic process.
En amour comme en famille, la fidélité est essentielle. C'est pourquoi elle doit être récompensée. Toute cette année, il y a 500 millions à partager pour votre fidélité. Quel que soit ton réseau, souscris au programme de fidélité OM au dièse 150 étoile 0 dièse ou via MaxI. Cumule jusqu'à 100 points et gagne 10 000 francs automatiquement chaque mois. En plus d'être éligible pour les super lots. À chacun sa chance et tout le monde peut gagner. Entre nous, c'est bongo bongo jusqu'à la gare.
Orange Money.
Pay your taxes and custom fees at Express Exchange. The solution is close to you. Enter an Express Exchange agency, head to the cash register with your tax notice, and make your payment of tax and custom fees with ease. Receive a confirmation receipt. So cool, Mula. Yes, Mula. From now on, I pay my taxes and custom fees at Express Exchange. It's simple. Express Exchange, partner of the Guild and the Directorate General of Taxation. Express Exchange, #1 in quality service in Cameroon.
The Nigerian presidential election came, Tinubu himself went across other nations, because there's what we call bilateral relationships. You must get to this nation and ask, what bilateral relationship do you have with Cameroon? Okay. How can I negotiate a better deal that you protect my interests? That's why every candidate must go around with a tour to discuss bilateral relationship. Peter Obi did that. Even President William Ruto did that. Every serious candidate must do that. And that was what Professor Kamto is doing. Whether we call it whichever way or not, but it is what must be done, because...
Okay. It's what must be done. Paddy Asanga, we have seen him. We hear other politicians are going to be making European tours. I don't know when your national chairman is planning to do his, but can we see that Professor Maurice Kamto has set the tone for campaigns for this year?
Leo, I will be very, very blunt in my utterances, because I will not let the Anglophones to be dragged in another quagmire.
I think we're not yet talking about Anglophones here. They're talking about going to...
I said, when you were talking, I sat and listened to you. And I said I will be blunt.
Leave Anglophones aside. You are not their mouthpiece here.
Are you their mouthpiece?
We are not their mouthpiece.
So listen to my opinion.
Let's talk about Cameroon.
Can you listen to my opinion? I'm an Anglophone.
That tendency of segregation, that tendency of segregation, separation should be banished.
And I shall never be assimilated.
About Cameroon.
I shall never be assimilated. If you are, then so it be.
You are never assimilated.
So listen to me.
And collect money
listen to me.
For transport,
you are used to, you people believe in collecting. What happened with Brent Trust? We'll talk about that in different day. So listen to me,
we will talk
Mr. Man.
So about Cameroon.
Let me be blunt in my response to you, Leo.
Paddy, my question stands there. Has Professor Maurice Kamto set the tone for campaigns for this year?
No, he has merely set the tone for himself and for nobody else. He went there to meet people who were attacking artists and paying allegiance to his friends who are working in Élysée. We are talking about Jean-Pierre Mignard. We know who Jean-Pierre Mignard is and the project that they had in Côte d'Ivoire. We know about Cabinet Lias. We know about the role of Dupont-Moretti, who came to this country, ordering and going back to France to say that they should relieve Kamto, and they are talking about political prisoners. What happened with the others who went to prison the same year?
Talk about Joseph Ossi dealing with the presidency of the Republic
Yes,
of Cameroon.
we'll talk about that.
The games he has,
Yes.
the businesses he's winning, the contracts and other like.
Yeah, we'll talk about
You
that.
want us to go into the not?
Yes, we shall go into
talk
it.
about rubbish.
Yes.
Answer the journalist question.
You want to
If
be
I knew I was to
substitute-
come here to meet you for this nonsense,
You met
I would
me the
politely
other
ask
day.
Mr. Kumlo to bring me here.
Yes, you can politely walk away, but you will listen to me and listen to me well. So, if
Paddy,
you cannot
Paddy,
take it,
Paddy, can you
that's
just-
it. If
Paddy,
you
can you
cannot
answer-
stand the
Paddy,
heat,
Paddy,
leave the kitchen. Because I'll be very blunt. I repeat,
Paddy,
and
can
each
you-
time you interrupt me,
Paddy, can you
know
answer
that
my
you are
question?
prolonging your I don't know, your high blood. So I'm listening, Mr. Liu.
Yes, my question is whether the tone has been set, and is this the way to go for other political leaders? Because there is need for them to also go and sell their political ideologies to those out there.
When you want to set a tone for a political campaign, and you start by the grassroots, you don't start by going to pay allegiance to people who are mostly foreigners and in a foreign country. That already tells you.
Those
That's very wrong
Cameroonians are
calculation.
foreigners.
It's also the
Just
same.
let him
Well,
talk,
see, Mutagha, I am not one of those
sometimes
people
just-
who shy away from anything. So stop wasting your time. You will only cry. I'm telling you. So, this is it. How many African presidents go and set the ball on electoral year in foreign countries if they are not foreign puppets? How many? You start in your country from the grassroots, then you go to the diaspora and say, this is the message that is coming from home. And I listen to them very well because I also keep the archives. When he went there, he said, I was going to forgive Mr. Biya and I will protect him. Whom are you trying to say that to? What does that mean? What is that is also a monumental error. So who gives you that legitimacy to say that you, Mr. Biya, has committed crime or Mr. Biya has not committed crime? Who is supposed to be where?
But he said that
Please,
in 2018 during the
please.
presidential
Yes,
election.
because he wanted to.
And I'm sure
Well,
your late chairman,
man.
whom you fanfared here, said it also that if he were to be president of the Republic of Cameroon, he's not going to go on a witch hunt.
Are you done?
I will be done when you are finished with your derailment.
Okay. So this is where the games are playing. He is barely going to France to look for money so that he will be preparing for the municipal election, because you remember that during the municipal elections, people could not even pay their caution. It took them by surprise. Because when you look at the whole situation, no law is going to be changed in this country to please Professor Kamto. Do you think we are going to accept that? And then you are counting on who? Nietzsche. I will please your audience to listen. This is what Nietzsche said.
No.
So when you say things like he said it publicly.
Please.
So these are the people who are going to pay allegiance to France. And what is their role? What role have they played in the diaspora against the Anglophone? What happened? They say he is talking about promoting unity. C'est que nous avons gagné. C'est le rapprochement avec la direction d'Ambazonie. Why did they leave the prison and then did not take that direction d'Ambazonie out?
That statement was made by Albert Zonga.
In a rally here in Douala, where Kamto was there.
No, Kamto was not there.
No, he was there.
He was at his residence in the night. We are talking about Kamto's visit to the diaspora now. Yes.
Now, when he's going to visit the diaspora, whom did you see there of the Anglophone extraction? Whom? Even when they have a Secretary General who's an Anglophone, he speaks and they translate. And you want us Anglophone to go again after the first president Francophone, second president Francophone, asking me he has set the tone. Let's let's go to the field and start from the grassroots. Those people in the diaspora, and I'll talk from an empirical research position. You have the last electoral list of the diaspora had 26,000, all the diaspora combined. But in the diaspora, you have 3 million. In a rally, you had about 50,000 people. So, how many of those people are going to vote, and what is the expected result from you go and have a rally where you have Malians, you have all sorts of people, just to get 26,000 people who are registered, and then on the day of the vote, Paris alone is less than 10,000. Or you people don't have those statistics. So those shenanigans doesn't impress anybody. He just wants to impress his master, so that when he will start proposing to ignite the Ouattara syndrome in Cameroon, he will say, no, but I have population. Didn't you see? Only that Cameroonians, and especially Anglophones, have grown wise. He will find himself in Loncac and in the pays of your friend, another Jacobin, si je savais. So his meeting in France is inconsequential apart from financial benefit. End of story. I rest my case.
Sir Mutagha, he was there with Honorable Nietzsche and Professor Abba Oyuno, who today has been asked to no longer be part of the Douala group. Yeah. The Douala group is dissociating itself from Professor Abba Oyuno because he has endorsed Professor Maurice Kamto. But can we say that Professor Maurice Kamto used this Paris rally to send a strong message? That is what we call demonstration of force, that whether you like it or not, I still remain the key player in Cameroon's politics.
Mr. Kum Leonard, those of us who are of the Christian faith know that Nicodemus met Jesus Christ in the night. You know why he met him in the night? Simply because he was afraid of the Pharisees and the scribes from seeing him with him in the daytime. I am not here to sell ordinary secret, but how many of those people who would not want to associate with Professor Maurice Kamto made him in the night to say, oh, you are the real man to take over this nation? We must laud Professor Abba Oyuno as one of those bold and godly-minded intellectuals in this nation that can brave the oath and then stand and point a finger to where there is light and say, oh, I want everybody to follow me. Professor Maurice Kamto's presence in France and seeing a legal luminary, a publicist, a constitutional professor, one that has proven beyond the four angles of the national territory and the boundaries of Africa that he can sit with the ranks of world-class professors of the caliber of Oyuno, crossing rivers and oceans to be in France, just to say, yes, today I can attest with a lot of alacrity, temerity, and audacity that Professor Maurice Kamto is the lone opposition leader at this particular juncture that can save this country. You understand that Professor Maurice Kamto is really a political genius.
Are you serious?
Please, no. He was listening. He listened to you jealously.
Yeah,
just go on.
He also interrupted me.
Just go on. Go on.
You can play
please,
the game.
Please.
Are you serious?
No.
Somebody who boycotted and wants to use our MPs to invest him, and you're telling me he's a political genius. Say he's a pap of law.
Please.
Playing with opportunists like
Please. Actually, if just go on.
Thank you, Mr. Kum Leonard, for doing a good job in moderating this platform tonight. Like I said it, if you look at, you said, could that rally be used as an indicator, as a signal, a sign to show that Professor Maurice Kamto is pulling strides on the political scene? I said emphatically yes. There has been a lot of lamentation, especially if you can visit the official social media pages of most of those who are the staunch CPDM surrogate. They have suddenly transformed themselves as if they were of the opposition instead, and Professor Maurice Kamto is the one in power, because it's rare to see those who are in power following somebody behind and struggling to contest every of his action at every time. It is common to have the opposition do that, come to criticize those who are in power, come to criticize those in power because they want to have visibility. Now it is the contrary. Those in power, they are on social media 24 hours. They send their intellectual class. They send their spies on all the TV channels just to see that they have to contest, they have to denigrate, they have to sabotage one action of Professor Maurice Kamto to the other. And then we ask ourselves, is he the one that is actually in power? Why would there be so much mobilization of energy to demonize a person? I said it last time that I had to come to the terms with the assertion that fate exists. You see, they say that when God has decided to put his hand on somebody, all the obstacles on his way will be turned into stepping stones. The degree of strength, determination, and the resources that are injected just to demonize Professor Maurice Kamto, and that's not working. Every day, that not working every day, you find that it is worth it, fueling a lot of frustration in the regime in place. It is fueling a lot of frustration in some of those fake oppositions who came in just simply because they wanted to accompany those in power
as a spy
to remain
France.
in power.
Please.
He should not accuse the opposition.
No. You are going to talk.
Forever.
Let him talk. Let him talk. Yeah.
So, like I said it, Professor Maurice Kamto will be coming back from France on the 8th of Saturday. He'll be landing at the international airport in Douala.
Can I cue you?
Yes.
Can I cue?
Yes,
now,
Mr. Kum.
My question had to do with actually establishing the fact that he is a key, why not the number one player as far as Cameroon's politics is concerned. Was the objective met?
The objective is attained.
Okay.
Let me explain this to you. Never in the history of Cameroon has there been so much flow of saliva, spit, the inks flowing since 2018 for over 7 years concerning a political figure and a political party that has no representation at the councils, at the region,
It's making a lot of
at
noise.
the National Assembly.
It's making a lot of
We
noise.
ask ourselves, if it is just common noise, why would it get so many persons upset?
Because he frustrated many people.
Why would Almighty Barcelona,
The greedy.
Why
the
would
greedy
Almighty
individual
Barcelona
frustrated Tamfu, frustrated Doki, frustrated German, frustrated and even
We are talking about the rally. We are talking about the rally.
Paddy, honestly speaking, let me just land.
Yes,
You know the reason why I would not say the things which are said behind camera here.
No, you have said so many things, and they shall be responded to.
Because I respect the audience that are watching. If not, I would have just points out what you said here on the day which we had House of Commons. There is no degree of mobilization. Be it, I told you that consult your witch doctor is not doing a good job. Get more witch doctors. I know what you're up to. Get more witch doctors. Get more witch doctors.
I'm neither a Christian like you.
Get more witch doctors.
Alienated, neither do I believe.
Get more witch doctors.
Please.
And work with them to stop Professor Maurice Kamto from becoming a candidate, because their struggle, their fight, be them of the opposition. I'm surprised because this is you see why Honorable Joseph Osi said in your former NEC meeting, he said if you get any dig and storm, any dement somebody that will sit on any platform, instead of selling the SDF program, but instead fighting other political parties with jargons, he would be dismissed.
I tell you,
I think he should be the very first person that is supposed to be dismissed. You are disgracing the party. You are disgracing the party.
To Joshua Osi
You are disgracing
to
the
dismiss
party.
me. The SDF did not send me
Sell
on this
the
platform.
program of the SDF for the 2025 presidential election
to fight the genuine fight of the Anglophone.
You are fighting
and not
which
be
fight of
alienated
Anglophone?
like you.
Alienated like who?
Like you are alienated figure.
You are this somebody
You have been assimilated.
Paddy, let me not talk, Mr. Kum
So,
Leonard.
please,
I've simply
mind your
answered you.
words.
You've answered me. Now, most of the points raised by Professor Maurice Kamto out there. C'est le message que je vous envoie à vous, les Camerounais, c'est ceci. But some persons, he says that he's going to move to the northwest and southwest to get the problems fixed. But some persons also think that he should have said some words in English. Don't know.
Yeah.
We assume that it was because it was in France.
The thing is,
Maybe if he moves to England or the United States, he's going to address.
The thing is, like I said, I'm in favor of that rally. I see the objective was actually met because if you look at the caliber of people who actually came out and spoke about his rally, it's telling, because we have other candidates who have been moving across, but we have not had this so much talked about that we have seen some government officials actually talking about it. For a candidate they say may not run for election, and I ask myself, if this candidate you say may not be constitutionally placed to run for election, why wasting that energy to actually look at what he's doing? Now, which means that, as what you have asked about Mutagha, it means the objective was actually met, like sending strong signal. Now, in terms of this message to Anglophones, and why many people feel like he ought to at least address them in English, and I think that the people who have that concern, they have a valid point, because even if it occurred in Paris or wherever, people were watching in and out of Paris. People were watching in Donga Mantung. People were watching in Goki Tunja. People were watching in Akaniku. People were watching in Kwakwa Nakebole Kumbe. People were watching across because everybody was watching. I'm sure even the stakeholders of key caliber personalities, whom I was shocked that came out today and talk about the crisis, despite the fact that they too have a lot of work to do in their respective places instead of doing it. I was shocked that they too watch. So he would have at least addressed the Anglophone part in English, because those who actually say that he did not address it have genuine concern. And they have genuine concern because, let me be very honest with you, when this crisis started, like Mutagha said it in his first round of discussion, that Professor may not have the connection like other elites who are there on the ground to navigate their way. But I will be very honest with you that there have been occasions that have afforded themselves for Professor to actually be in the northwest and southwest region. I'll quote an example. The demise of the founder or the chairman of the Social Democratic Front was a moment of political
No, you are not.
reconciliation.
You are Paddy Asanga. You are not the Northwest.
So it was a moment of political reconciliation where we expected that all these opposition parties would have converged, like we see in other countries. We see in other countries where when things like that happen, you see all the opposition will go. Now we would have also expected him, like, now Boya has a bit of relative calm. We would have expected him to have been to Boya. You remember, there's a difference between being on the field and listening to the people. It matters because you can have a change or no. Let me land. No. Let me land. Semutaga.
It was in Bamenda in 2016.
Semutaga, it is my time. You talk now, Papa. I have been hearing that Professor Maurice Kamto was in Lima in 2018. I've never seen any pictures.
2018, not 19.
2018. I've never seen any pictures to that effect. I've never seen any pictures to that effect. Sir, let me land. Where Paddy?
No, Paddy, that is not the focus. That is not the focus for tonight. Please. No. We are not doing no propaganda. We are analyzing. No. There was a mega rally in Paris, France. We have to talk about it because, whether you like it or not, Professor Maurice Kamto is a key political figure in Cameroon. So let us talk about it professionally. You may not agree with all of the things that he said or what he stands for, but the media must talk about it.
Yeah, so as I was explaining that, one would have expected at least Professor within this time to have been in Northwest and Southwest. There have been occasions that are afford themselves. We have seen Samuel Eto'o.
No, we are talking about We are talking about Paris. Don't go to
I
other
was
things.
relating it to the Anglophone issue that he mentioned, because we cannot mutually exclude that from the realities on the ground. Because if you are solving, like he said, he was going to solve the crisis of the North and South, which Mutagha mentioned it here, that he was going to solve it because he will have the power of the gendarmes and the policies to put in place. So what I'm simply saying is that it was something technically, or an error, a technical error, that the professor limited himself exclusively to French. Because I've watched key stakeholders in other countries, when they're addressing an issue, like, let me use Kenya, which I'm more familiar with, they speak Kiswahili. And when President William Ruto was in China, addressing the Kenyans in China, there were a moment in time he knew that the people were watching at home. Key things, there was something he said in Kiswahili, and those things he said in Kiswahili, he was addressing it to the Kenyans who are watching at home. So we must also take into consideration the fabric of the nation, which is bilingualism. And that fabric of that nation, you are running in for a president of the nation to promote the bicultural and the bijurian nature of both parties. So we cannot, whether we like it or not, that was a bit of error committed in that regard, because when it comes to Anglophone crisis, you can say, for the Anglophone community, I have this to tell you. Because we were watching. But translating it now to English, it takes us back to what we're experiencing in this.
But at least the fact that he says that, okay, solving the Anglophone problem
I've applauded that.
is going to be his key, and that he's going to move down there.
Yes, which is good. But the other issue is, Cameroonian Anglophones have been worried within the last years within the years of President Paul when it comes to national addresses. That is mostly on French, mostly in French. So we would have expected him to be dynamic in such a way that we know that, okay, this is a candidate who is coming to solve another, because solving the problem, the Anglophone problem, is also good, but also the issue of language. I know language may not be something that some people may look at it or overlook at it, but it is also an issue. Solving the Anglophone crisis is good, but Professor would have at least, it's not still late. At least I know I've seen his address in English. There are moments where he has actually done an address.
Most of the releases that comes out of his office, they come in French and
in French and English. I remember there was a moment where he actually spoke in English when the heat of this crisis in English. But in rally like this, or in subsequent rally, it's always good. And this is a lesson also for other political leaders, especially those, because we keep shouting at marginalization in language from the French. There's also that technical marginalization from the English side, where the French is also marginalized. So what I'm saying is that all the political stakeholders, if you are going to make a public rally like that nature, and you want to address a people, identify the key areas which matter most. We have the same common problem when politicians are campaigning. For example, they don't have differences in messages per locality. You cannot come to Douala. Message for Douala should be talking about the economy, because we're in a commercial town. When you go to the southwest and northwest, messages there should be talking about agriculture, because that is where their force is. When you go to a particular, each area has a specific message. But what we experience in politicians is that sometimes they just give a general picture in Cameroon. Oh, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do that. Each area has a specific message. I'm happy the special advisor is here, because we need this bilingualism exhibited in all facets, whether in France or wherever. As long as you're addressing a crowd of more than 5,000 people, you should know that with the digitalization that we have now, somebody could be watching in Ankaninku, somebody could be watching in the Far Evis village, the Gunuku village. People could be watching from anywhere in Kruku village, and even in my way village. So you should afford them even that, at least summary of, and this the Kenyans are good at this. President William Ruto will make a speech in English and summarize it in Kiswahili, or speak in Kiswahili and summarize it in English. It's very good, because it enables people to understand that we are actually in sync with one another, and no one is domineering over the other.
Okay, Paddy Asanga, we have seen the appreciation made by different political leaders of the outing of Professor Maurice Kamto out there. It is true that the CPDM may necessarily not applaud what happened moving that crowd out there in the French capital, but isn't it also curious that not every opposition party celebrates this feat? We saw with the massive mobilization out there in Paris, for example, people who call themselves opposition, the Douala group, distancing themselves from one of theirs simply because he endorsed Professor Maurice Kamto. How can an opposition be opposing an opposition? That is, opposition is opposing itself.
Leo, let's be honest. Maurice Kamto has his base that dictates to him in France, and this base is his militant base. And when you see the Douala group distancing themselves from Professor Abba, there is a reason for that. And I had mentioned it, I think, on your platform when I was still in Europe. This, his base that they call BAS, they attacked Grasse and Bendika in Paris, in that same Paris.
Yeah, but that is BAS. BAS is not CRM.
BAS, we should no, Leo. This
not
this will be very dishonest to not associate BAS with Maurice Kamto, because they are the ones raising funds for him. They are the one organizing everything. They are the one going to take that thing at the sous-prefecture, and they are using the name of code under Jean Wanto. I know these things because I live there. So if you want to start pretending, then we are not going anywhere.
But there are some members of BAS who have dissociated themselves from Professor Maurice Kamto.
Even they dissociate them. This is just what he was saying, that you disagree with somebody during the day and dine with him during the night. That's what he was just telling you. No. The Douala people are not happy because they know that the BAS are supporting Kamto. Every political group is gradually isolating Kamto and allowing him to that his violent base that is based in France and then protected by the French. In no country in the world, people will mobilize, attack diplomats, attack chiefs, attack artists, attack civilians based on their ideology and tell you that they are supporting a political candidate. Have you ever seen that in the history? It can only happen in a disorganized city like Paris. And then you people, journalists, because you want to be journalistic, correct, and protect your ontology, other communities will follow suit. Every community that the BAS of Maurice Kamto based in Paris has been attacked will disassociate themselves.
It's not BAS of Maurice Kamto. Can we be very clear?
So that is it. That is the background. If you want to know.
Yeah, but how do we understand? It is true. How do we understand opposition fighting opposition to the extent of denying one of theirs?
Opposition is not a political ideology. Let's make that one clear. And we'll go directly. How does somebody from one day to the other moves from a socialist central left party to a far right, an ally to a far right? That makes it impossible for people